Hey, welcome everybody. This is CP Cards and Dice, and welcome to a presentation of our 1976 Yankees using Inside Pitch Ball. Remember, this is your home for tutorials, strategy, player profiles, history reviews, news, tips, top baseball cards, rants, unboxings, and so much more. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope they're abiding by all the instructions of their local health departments and national Centers for Disease Control and so forth, and they're remaining safe and healthy behind closed doors and limiting their trips out to walks and bike rides and staying away from crowds and maintaining social distancing and that sort of thing. And I've been working, I think, harder than I've ever worked really since I'm at home, working from home now. And it's really turned my life upside down. I'm sleeping at all odd hours and taking short naps and waking up and preparing. It's terrible. Before I'd go to work and I'd come home and that was it. I was done. Now it's like you're working 24/7. So this has turned my life upside down for sure now, and I'm sure it's turned the life of a lot of people, a lot of you out there, upside down as well. The Yanks, the 1976 Yanks are 43-40. They're in second place in the replay. We're using Inside Pitch. We're at Arlington Stadium, 1976, the bicentennial year. It's the New York Yankees, who that year made it to the World Series, are facing the Texas Rangers. We're joining the action in the top of the fourth. It's, let's see, Roy White doubled. So he's on at second base, and now it's Thurman Munson at the plate. It's 2-0 Texas in the top of the fourth. It's Bert Blyleven on the mound for the Rangers. Bert Blyleven in our replay has a 4.20 ERA and a 7-11 record, and we're right about to roll. It's Thurman Munson, runner on second base. The Yanks are down 2-0. So here goes. We're playing Inside Pitch. The way you play Inside Pitch is the red, you count that as the column. The white, you count it as the row. And then the 20-sided die will give you other information. So we roll a 54, and a 54 turns out to be a potential strikeout, but that's really high, so that's probably not going to be a strikeout against Munson, who doesn't strike out very often. So White is at second base. He takes his lead. Here's the swing by Munson. It's a 2-4, and that's going to be a fly ball, center field. Can of corn for Juan Beniquez, who's out there. And that's out number one. And I didn't check Roy White. Beniquez, I have my defensive cards here. Yeah, I didn't bother to I didn't want to risk moving him over on that fly to center field. Chris Chambliss now, lefty batter. Chris Chambliss on the season is batting .285 with 11 home runs. Here's the pitch. That's a 2-1. We look at the pitcher's card first. 2-1 is an error on the throw, a potential error on the throw. So we're going to roll off Chambliss. Let's see what happens. It's a 5-2, and that's a fly ball to center field, so there is no throw. And coming over is Beniquez for out number 2. So he's keeping busy in center field. And now it's going to be Carlos May. Now the Yanks have a lineup made up of plenty of lefties. On deck is, let's see who's on deck, Greg Nettles, and then after him is Oscar Gamble. This is the bottom half of the lineup for the Yankees. So the Yankee lineup is stacked with lefties. All right, Bert Bladlin looks in for the sign. He sets and he deals. That's a 3-4, which against a righty would be a single, but against a lefty is a blank. So we're going to have to roll off May's card, a 2-5er, and that's going to be line base hit to left. So Carlos May goes the other way, and we're going to see if we can get Roy White home on that. I believe Roy White's a 4 running, and going from second to home with 2 outs, it makes him a 5. And then we're going to get a +1. So that makes him a 6. So he's going to score automatically. Gene Klein is in left field. I don't know that he has a special – no, he's got a modifier for his arm. All right, so that's going to be an RBI single by Carlos May. So 2-1 Texas lead now. Yankees have cut the lead in half. Craig Nettles steps to the plate. Craig Nettles is having a pretty good season. Up to this halfway point, he's got a 283 average. He's got 17 home runs. Kind of right on the mark. He hit for the season, he hit 32 home runs, so he's exactly where he should be. Here's a pitch from Blyleven. That's a 6-2. That's going to be a potential K of 5, maybe low enough to get him, and it does. So Blyleven gets him with a curve, and that retires the side. So the Yanks strand 1, but they pick up a run, and they go into the bottom. We go into the bottom of the 4th with Texas leading by a score of 2-1. Rangers. Let's go into the Rangers a little bit. I always, as a kid, I really enjoyed the Rangers. The Rangers have Gene Klein leading off. He's the left fielder. Batting second is the infamous Lenny Randle. I think this is before he dukes it out with the manager and sends the manager to the hospital, and then later has charges brought against him, filed against him by the manager for assault. Crazy story. But he was, if you ask his teammates, I mean, he was a mild-mannered guy. He was a good roommate, a good teammate, and he was a quiet guy, kept to himself, wasn't rowdy at all, wasn't a bully. You know, he just, I don't know what happened between him and the manager, but they went at it, and the manager got the worst of it. And then he got moved to the Mets, and then he had a season and a half with the Mets that were pretty good, and then he got bounced to the Yankees, and he bounced around a little bit after that. Anyway, batting third is Mike Hargrove, known as the human rain delay, I believe it's his nickname, for all the little thingamajigs that he would do as he went up to the plate. He took forever. Jeff Burrows, right fielder, batting fourth. He's a power hitter for they have 2 main power hitters. It's Jeff Burrows, and then I'll tell you the other one in a second. Then it's Toby Harrah, the shortstop. They don't have a very good fielding club. He's batting fifth. Then batting sixth is the DH Tom Grieve. He's the other power hitter. Batting seventh is Roy Howell, the third baseman. I think he's going to be going to the Toronto Blue Jays in the expansion draft after this season. Batting eighth is center fielder Juan Beniquez. And then batting ninth is the catcher Jim Sundberg, who I remember was a decent defensive catcher. All right, so Kenny Holtzman, the ex-Cub, the ex-Oakland A, came to the Yankees in '76, just joined the team recently. And he has a couple of seasons with the Yankees, not very good. He gets beat up pretty badly throughout his short stint with the Yankees. And he's going to be facing Juan Beniquez. Juan Beniquez is batting .258 with no home runs, 8 stolen bases. So here goes. We're going to look at Kenny Holtzman's card at the bottom of the 4th. 2-1 Rangers. That's a 3-6. And versus a righty, that's a star line. So we're going to roll this one for star line, a 6. And that's going to be a fly ball lifted to right field. Right there is Gamble. He squeezes it. And 1 up, 1 down. Next batter now is Jim Sundberg. Now you get every card with the inside pitch set. You can get it either PDF or you can just order the cards. case, I ordered the cards because it was a season that I really wanted. It was like my first season in tabletop baseball, so I wanted to replay it. Jim Sundberg case, I ordered the cards because it was a season that I really wanted. It was like my first season in tabletop baseball, so I wanted to replay it. Jim Sundberg is next, and that's going to be a 5-1, and that's a blank. And a 2-4 is a Starline 5. We're going to roll for Starline again. That's an out off the pitcher's card. That's chopped to second. Alomar over to first. 4-3. So the lineup turns over. Gene Kleins. And that is a 4-5, and that's a blank, so we're rolling off Gene Kleins. And a 1-6er, and that's chopped to third. And charging it is Nettles, bare hands. It fires to first in time to get the Gene Kleins, who was hustling down the line there. Not really totally, not speedy, but based on his running. Although running doesn't always represent speed, it just represents ability, base running ability. Oscar Gamble in the top of the fifth. The Yanks are down by a run. Score is Texas 2 and the Yankees 1. So it's going to be Oscar Gamble against Bert Blyleven, 2-5. And that's blank. We go to Oscar Gamble's card, a 3-1, and that's chopped to second. Lenny Randall whips it over to first. 1 away. Next batter is Sandy Alomar. Sandy Alomar's filling in for Willie Randolph, who's out for a couple of games. 5-2, that's a potential strikeout, but a 20 is not going to be a strikeout. It's a little bit high, or a lot high. 4-3 off of Sandy Alomar's card, and that's lifted to right. Out there is Jeff Bros. He settles under it, makes the catch. Next batter is Jimmy Mason. Left-handed hitter. He doesn't bat his weight. 3-3, and 3-3 is a potential strikeout. A 13 is a strikeout, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down for Bert Blyleven. All right, Lenny Randall leading it off. Here's the pitch from the lefty, Kenny Holzman. Now, Kenny Holzman in our replay, he's got 19 games started. He's 6-10 with a 5.33 ERA, so he has a very high ERA, 1-2. And against us, he's batting righty, so it's going to be a blank. We're going to roll off Lenny Randall's card. And it's a 3-3, and that's a ground ball past the second baseman for a base hit. So Lenny Randall is on, and he's going to try to steal. So we're going to use that 3, and he does get the lead. It's a 13 minus 2 is 11. And let's see if the catcher has anything. The catcher for the Yankees is Munson. And the catcher, I don't know that he has anything. No, he does not. So what did we say? It was an 11. Oh, and we're going to roll. And he's out at second base. Beautiful throw by Munson. Guns him down. It's going to be a 2-6. So 1 down. Next is Mike Hargrove. Pitch to Hargrove. That's a 4-2. That's a blank, so we're looking off Hargrove's card. 2-1, and that's lifted to right again. Gamble over towards the line. Ball's hooking away from him a little bit, but he gets to it. Hargrove pulled that down the line. And Burrows, Jeff Burrows with 2 outs. He's a power hitter, 1-4. That's a potential walk in a 9 versus a lefty. He's going to be a 12, so that's ball 4. So it's a 2-out walk to Jeff Burrows, who doesn't run very well. So we don't have to really worry about him too much. Toby Harrah's next. Toby Harrah got a 260 with 15 home runs and close to 600 at-bats. It's going to be a 1-2, and versus a left would be a strikeout, but this is versus a righty, so there's no result on the pitcher card. Now we go to Toby Harrah. That's a 4-2, and versus a lefty, that's a ground ball past the diving Alomar, and that's going to allow Burrows to go to third with 2 outs. So it's first and third. And it's Tommy Grieve. Tommy Grieve has good power, so Holzman has worked his way into a little bit of a pickle, allowing 2 singles after there were 2 outs. And Tommy Grieve now, a power hitter, right-handed hitting power hitter for the Texas Rangers, is up here in the bottom of the 5th. Let's see if Holzman can reach back and bring a little bit to get out of this jam. 4-1, And that's going to be a potential error, which is not good. And that's a pretty high roll, so we probably won't have to worry about an error, but we'll see what happens. 4-6, that's a line drive center field, and Rivers running in and gets there, and that retires the side. Rivers' error rating is very low. That's an 11, so that definitely wasn't an error. So once you know the game a little bit, it makes sense. You just kind of look over, who you got, and you learn your team, and then obviously you have to look at I know that Juan Beniquez has a real good range in center field. So does Rivers. Both of those are outstanding. They run almost everything down out there. So Mickey Rivers is leading off the top of the 6th inning. It's a 2-1 ball game. The Rangers are up here in Arlington Stadium. This is 1976 Texas. All right, Bert Blyleven. Here's the pitch. That's a 4-3, and that's going to be a ballpark. Ballpark, we're going to look off the ballpark card. And that's a 5-3, and that's going to be a line shot base hit. And looks like Rivers is going to try for second. We're going to roll that, see what happens. And he is out at second base. Holy smokes. Great throw by the right fielder, Jeff Burrows, to nail Mickey Rivers, trying to stretch a single into a double. So it's going to be a single, and he's thrown out at second. It's going to be 9. Gets the assist. To who's playing that? The cutoff would be the second baseman, so that's a shortstop. 9-6, and the batter is out at second base. Let's see here. So it's a 9-6. There you go. All right. So there's one out now, and Bert Blyleven to Roy White. Roy White is batting from the left side. It's a switch hitter, 63. And that's, again, a ballpark card. We're going to go to Arlington Stadium, a 2-1, and that's a ground ball and past the reach of Toby Harrah, the shortstop, that doesn't have very good range at all. But White is on at first. We're going to try to get a lead. We roll an 8. We'll use that. An 8, and he is a 4 attempt, so he's not going to get the lead. And we're going to try to hit and run with Munson. See what happens here. There goes White. That's a 6-4, and that's a potential strikeout. Let's see. No, Munson doesn't strike out very often, so it won't be a strikeout. So we're rolling off Munson's card. That's a 4-2. There's a star line 2, and that's chopped to second. So Randall will have only one play, and that's the first, thanks to the hit and run. So it's a 4-3, 2 outs, and White is in scoring position now with the tying run. Chris Chambliss, left-handed hitter. And we're going to look at Bert Blyleven's card first. It's a 4-1, and that's a blank. So now here goes. It's up to Chris Chambliss. Can he be clutch or not? Is his nickname clutch? We'll find out. It's a 3-2, and that's a star line out of some kind. I'm going to roll there, a 3-2. Oh, wait, it's a star line 2. I'm sorry, I didn't have to roll. That's going to be chopped to second. Lenny Randall picks it up and flips to Hargrove, and that retires the side, 4-3. So we go to bottom of the 6th. This game's moving along. I played about 5 or 6 games so far before streaming this one. Hey, guys. I see a couple of guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's being safe. Everybody's following the instructions of the city and the state, and then, of course, the federal government. I want all my fellow gamers to be safe and sound. D. Scott Howard, great to see you again, sir. Derek Dodgers, Royals fan. Good evening. Great to hear from you guys. Great to see you guys. Let's see. Roy Howell against Kenny Holtzman here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We're going to take a quick peek at the box score and look at the batters faced. 22 by Blyleven and 24 by Holtzman. Both these pitchers, because it's in the 70s, can go over 30 batters. And don't you love that? Okay. It's an easy, basically it's an easy decade to replay, simply because, most of the lineups stay the same. They don't have big bullpens, and their starters usually go, 7, 8, and 9. So it's nice. You can just play baseball and enjoy baseball. So it's going to be Roy Howell. He's a left-handed hitter versus the lefty Kenny Holtzman. The score is 2-1 Texas. We're playing at Arlington Stadium, 1976, the bicentennial year. 5-6 All right, we look at Holtzman's card first. 5-6 is a potential K. And then we roll the 9 on Howell versus a lefty is a 21. Holy. So he strikes out. Flails at a Holtzman curveball. Most of these guys were throwing curveballs and fastballs. I have a book on the pitchers and what the older pitchers were throwing. Most of them were through, not a lot of tricky pitches back then. I think it was straightforward, a lot of fastballs and curveballs. Juan Beniquez, Kenny Holtzman. Here goes Kenny Holtzman, 66. That's a blank. A home run in Appa, of course. 5-1 off Beniquez's card, and that's chopped. Oh, no, that's lifted to right. And over is Gamble, and Rivers, and Gamble grabs it. Next is Jimmy Sundberg, pitch off Holtzman, 3-5. We look at Holtzman's card first. It's a blank. So we're going to roll off Jim Sundberg. He's a 228 hitter. Doesn't do much damage, but you never know. And that's chopped to short. Mason waits back, now charges, fires on the run, and has plenty of time to get the slow-footed catcher, Jimmy Sundberg. He's a 1, by the way, base running. So he didn't score many runs at all. He pretty much goes station to station. But I do remember his as a superb defensive catcher, and he is rated a 5, which is the highest you can be rated for range in this game. All right, so it's Carlos May leading it off here in the top of the 7th. The Yanks are down by a run. That's a 2-3. 2-3 is a potential walk and a 15 versus a righty. Oh, it almost is a walk, and there's no additional modifier by the ballpark for walks, so it just misses it by 1. So we're going to roll on Carlos May card. That's a 1-2, and that's popped to the right side. Hargrove in foul territory, now back in fair territory, and makes the catch. Went up and 1 down. Greg Nettles, good power, has 17 home runs on the season. 5-2, and that's a potential strikeout, and a 6 will be a strikeout. 2 up, 2 down for Bert Blyleven. Oscar Gamble. That's a 6-1. That's a blank. Let's see. Gamble also has good power. 5-3, and that's going to be a fly ball, deep right field. Back goes Burrows to the track, up against the wall, and makes the catch. So Oscar Gamble gave it a ride and was just a few feet short of tying this ball game up. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, so it's the 7th inning stretch, if you will. Let me take a sip of water. Hope everybody's doing well. Who else is here? Bears Den 007, my brother. How are you? Baseball. I watched MLB, the 1995 Game 5 between the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees. I think I got a quick look at Derek Jeter in the dugout. Now, Alex Rodriguez did pinch run and then did play shortstop. So that was fascinating because those guys were incoming players. Mariano Rivera played in that game. You had Blackjack McDowell was out there. You had the unit, Randy Johnson. You had Bennis was the starting pitcher versus Cone. Cone screwed it up. The Yankees had 2 big chances of winning that game. In the bottom of the 8th, Cone lost control. He lost the plate, and he walked a couple of guys, and a couple of guys scored, and the Yanks were up 4-2, and they tied it at 4-4. Then it went into extra innings. The Yanks took a 5-4 lead, and then the Mariners came back on a double by Edgar Martinez to drive in 2 runs. So that was outstanding. It was a 4.5-hour ball game. Holy smokes. I fell asleep a while, and I missed a couple innings, but then I woke up, and there was plenty of action. I totally enjoyed that. A blast. So I got pumped up to do a stream tonight. I've been playing on my own, during the day here and there. Whenever I get a break, I've been doing a lot of work. That's why you haven't seen me on. I just lost MLB channel yesterday. No, this was on YouTube, brother. So you lost the MLB channel. Well, I have MLB.com, which I paid for, right? I should get my money back, but I love them so much that I'm not even going to ask them for my money back. Closers went on 3 innings. Yeah, it was nuts. I was at that game, 3rd deck behind home. Folks, wow. I watched that game from Queens, New York. I remember the room I was in. I remember the TV that I had. It's crazy how, because that was the first time in a long time that the Yankees were back in the playoffs. So I remember that clearly, and that was a huge disappointment, because they had a couple of chances, and that was the last chance for Don Mattingly to make it to the playoffs. And Wade Boggs was there, and Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams. This was the beginning of the late '90s Yankee dynasty, and you can catch all that. It's still on YouTube. You can go there and watch the game, But it was fun because they were playing it live on YouTube, which was really cool. All right, let's get to this game now. It's Gene Klein is leading it off, or Gene Kleins with an S. He batted .276 and close to 450 at bats. He had no home runs. He had 11 stolen bases. He's a decent above average fielder in left field, and he's leading it off here against Kenny Holtzman in the bottom of the 7th. Let's see if Kenny Holtzman can keep this game close. So that's going to be a blank. So we're rolling off Gene Klein's card, and a 33 is going to be chopped to short, and Mason scoops it, fires the first to get Klein's. So that's a 6-3 put out for out number 1. Next is Lenny Randall. He's a switch hitter, batting from the right side. That's a 5-1, and that's a blank off of Holtzman's card. And a 3-1 is a fly ball lifted center field, and racing in is Rivers, and he makes it. Makes the catch. Took a step back, kind of misread it off the bat, and then made up for it. He's got amazing speed, although he kind of limps to the plate. Looks like a 90-year-old man, but when he gets it going, he turns on the jets. He really motors. All right, so it's Hargrove, the human rain delay is his nickname. It takes forever to get to the plate, so I guess I have to take extra long here to roll for him, right? Gene Klein's. Yeah, he's a character. Kenny Holtzman, 6'2". That's a range play, so we're going to have to roll the extra die. And anything high is probably a hit. A 6 is a 6 is an automatic hit. Anything low is probably an out. So you probably kind of know just by looking at the die what's going to happen. But there is that some guy. I mean, the Yankees have a good defensive squad. If it were the Rangers on the field, almost everything is a hit. All right. So that's going to be a 6-4. A 6-4 says that's a single to right field. Now the question is, with that 3, can Gamble catch it? And I believe Gamble is a 3, and he runs it down. So great catch by Oscar Gamble in right field, and it robs. It's a 6-4. It robs Mike Hargrove of a single here to end the bottom of the 7th inning. So it's an F9, and a little star goes to Oscar Gamble for running that down. And if it had been a 4, 5, or a 6, it would have dropped in there, and then we probably no, we wouldn't roll to see if it's a double or single. That's only on an F8 that drops in. All right, so Sandy Alomar leading off the top of the 8th. The Yanks are down by a run, 2-1. We're playing inside pitch. This is game 84 of the Yankees season. The Yanks are 43-40. They're in second place in their division. So I would like to win this game, but I can't do anything about it other than try to manage them to some sort of victory. It's a 3-5 off Blyleven, 3-5, and that's a potential walk, but an 18 is way high. You're not going to get a walk on that sort of number normally. So it's off of Sandy Alomar, who's a switch hitter. That's a 3-5, and that's going to be chopped to short. And Hara up with it, high throw, and Hargrove with a great tag of Alomar, who was jetting down the line. So it's going to be a 6-3. And kudos goes out to Hargrove for making a nice little play there. Jim Mason, we get a pinch hitter for Jim Mason. I don't totally know who the good thing. I'm using Replay Baseball to keep my stats. So what that does for me is that it shows me the actual roster. So when I look at guys to pick as a pinch hitter, I know that I am picking somebody. All right, we're going to use, you know what? Ellie Hendricks is available. We're going to bring in Ellie Hendricks to pinch hit. Let me see if I can find the Yankees. Ellie Hendricks started the year off. No, actually ends the year with the Baltimore Orioles. And you can see his card. I had to go to Baltimore to get his card. And then the shortstop we're going to play is Mickey Klutz. He's going to come in, and he made an appeal. Actually, you know what? Let me see if he's in the line in the roster. very quickly. Let's see. He is not on the roster, so we're not going to use Klutz. We are going to use Stanley. Fred Chicken Stanley. All right, Ellie Hendricks. Ellie Hendricks had 4 home runs in 132 at bats, so he has a little bit of pop. Batted 174. He's going to come in. He is already. I got him in there as a pinch hitter. Here's the pitch from Blyleven. That's a 3-6er. 3-6er is a potential home run, and versus a righty is going to be a home run. So we're going to actually potentially get a pinch hit home run by Elrod Hendricks here, because this falls within the home run range of the pitcher Blyleven, where he's facing a left. Oh no, I just missed it. Holy smokes! Because Elrod Hendricks is a lefty. Lefties on the Bert Blyleven's home run card go up to 10, 1 to 10. So I missed out on that. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, that would have been exciting to see a pinch hit home run. So had Elrod Hendricks been a righty, it's 1 to 16. So the 14 would have qualified, and then I would roll on Elrod Hendricks' card, and let's see what that would have been. 1 to 16 against righties is a home run, and that's a 1. That ball's gone. But anyway, none of that happened, so we're going to look at Elrod Hendricks, see what happens. That's a 2-4, and that's going to be chopped to first. Hargrove is going to race Hendricks to the bag. And now it's Mickey Rivers with 2 outs. Mick the Quick is batting, in the replay, he's batting .337 with 4 home runs and 26 stolen bases. We're going to re-roll all that. I don't like it when it comes out of the tray. 6'4". 6'4" is a potential K. A 15 is not going to be a K. He's a contact hitter. Most of these guys are contact hitters back then. 5'5", and that's ripped to the second baseman, Randall. He scoops it over to Hargrove, 4-3, and that retires the side. Now at shortstop, we're going to plug in Fred Stanley. I'm using the Replay Baseball sim game. It's real easy to maneuver, and you can input your dice rolls and all that very easily. I also use Stratomatic, which is a lot more clunky. The interface is not very user-friendly at all. This has a very user-friendly interface. With 1 click, you resolve most of the plays. All right, Jeff Burrows and Kenny Holtzman. Let me take a quick look at the box score to see that I'm not overextending these pitchers. Kenny Holtzman can go 1 more, and Bert Blyleven can go 6 more. Wow. All right, so let's see. Jeff Burrows. If he gets this guy, I'll let him pitch fatigue for a couple batters. If he doesn't get this guy, then we're going to have to switch him out. 4-2, that's a blank. So we're rolling off Burrows as a 4-5, and that's going to be a fly ball deep center field. And Rivers on the run and makes a nice running catch out there. Mick the Quick. There's a reason they call him Mick the Quick. He covers a lot of territory in center field. All right, Toby Harrah. So he's fatigued now, 1-2. And that's going to be against the lefty. It's a K. Otherwise, it's a blank. So we're rolling off of Toby Harrah. 1-6er, and that's chopped to short. Fred Stanley waits back. Now charges. Fires the first. And, gets him by a half a step. Toby Harrah hustling down the line. And it's Tom Grieve, another power hitter. That's a 6-4, and that's going to be a ballpark. Just going to roll off the ballpark card. I have that here to my right. And that's a 6-6, and that's ripped to the shortstop. Stanley, long throw to first, and in time, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down to end the bottom of the 8th inning. We go to the top of the 9th. Last licks for the Bombers. And it's going to be Roy White against Bert Blyleven. Blyleven is going for the complete game here. Let's look at the line score. The Yanks got 1 run, 6 hits, 1 error. The Texas Rangers, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. So let's see if the Yanks have a comeback in their bones. Bert Blyleven looks in for the sign. Here's the pitch. That's a 5-2, and that's a potential K. And a 7, maybe a K, and it is a K. Strike 3 on Roy White. So 1 up, 1 down. Thurman Munson. Thurman Munson's batting 311. He was the 1976 MVP with 102 RBIs and a 302 batting average. That's a 1-3, and that's going to be a range play. So we're going to look off of Munson's card. We're going to use that green die. If it's a 6, it's an automatic hit. If it's a 1, it's probably an automatic. Well, it is an automatic out, and that's a very low number. So most likely that's going to be an out. Only a miracle will get it to be a hit. It's a 2-2. It's a ground ball to the third baseman. Third baseman is Howell. I don't even have him on here. I don't know why he's not on here. Ah, there he is. Oh my God, Howell's a 1. That ball's by him, and we're gonna have to roll to see if that's a single or a double. So on a 5 or 6, that's going to be a double down the line for Munson, and it is a double, and that's played in the corner by Kleins. Munson in at second base with a 1-out double, and that puts the tying run at second base in scoring position. Holy smokes, that really surprised me. I did mention before I started this game, I did take a quick peek at the defense, of the Rangers, and it's abysmal, and that is being generous. Only the left fielder and the right field and the center fielder really hold their own. Everybody else is just, well, and the catcher, but every other guy on the team, I guess 6 out of the 9 or 6 out of the 8, 5 out of the 8 are just horrendous. Randall is a 2, Harrah's a 2, the third baseman, holy smokes, a 1. I mean, you can't get any worse than that. Hargrove is a 2 at first base. He's terrible as well. So Munson is at second he pulled one down the line for a double. A 1-out double, and the Yankees have the tying run at second base. And we're going with Blyleven here. Blyleven still has pitches. Here's the pitch to 2-5er. 2-5er is a tired single. He is not tired because he's a 34. And we're going to double check that he's not near 34. And I don't think he is. He's a 30. So he still has 4 more batters he can face. So that's a 2-5, and that is going to be blank. So now we're rolling off Chris Chambliss. Let's see if Chambliss can be a hero. Munson is an excellent base runner for a catcher. That's a 4-2, and that's going to be a star line chop to third base. And only on a 6 will he move. Will he make it to third on this? And it's a 1, so he does not. He stays at second. Howell looks him back, fires to first, and gets Chambliss 5-3. I got to go back. I erase that. And I'm going to have to do that in detail because he did not advance on that. So ground ball, 5-3. All right, so the Yanks are down to their last out. Lefty hitting Carlos May. Carlos May batted 260. Batted 260 in 350 at-bats. He came over from the White Sox, started the season with the White Sox. All right, here goes. And that's a 6-3 off Blyleven. That's a ballpark card, so we're going to look at the ballpark, Arlington Stadium. It's a 2-6, and that's line base hit center field. And this may tie up the ball game with 2 out. Munson gets a little boost there. He starts off at a 4. He becomes a 5. And going from second to home on a single to center is a +2. And Munson scores. The game is tied at 2. Carlos May, clutch Carlos May, comes up big with a 2-out single to tie the ball game at 2 apiece in the top of the 9th inning. And we'll double check that. It's a 2-6. It's a single to center off the Arlington Stadium card, and the ball game is tied at 2. Next is Greg Nettles. And we're going to double check again Blyleven. Blyleven has faced 32 batters. We're going to let him face Nettles. All right. It's a 6-2, and that's a potential strikeout of 15 versus a righty. Isn't a strikeout, just missed it by 1. We're rolling off Nettles here, and that's a 4-5, and that's going to be a ground ball past the diving Hargrove and played by Burrows. Hustling over to third is going to be Carlos May. So first and third now, and Oscar Gamble. Now we're going to take a quick peek at who's available for the for the Rangers in the bullpen, who they're using at this time. I'm going to take a quick look at that. I'm going to take a look at the box score. Let's see, 76. Yankees. Looking at the Yankee schedule, the actual game, using Baseball Reference to kind of get a feel for who the lefties and righties were for the Rangers. I do have a roster that's available to me through the replay sim game, the replay PC game. But in addition to knowing those guys are there, I really want to know who they were using in this to make it even more realistic. And I want to see who the lefties are, because I'd like to bring in the lefty to face Oscar Gamble, but I may not do that because I know that they have Lou Piniella on the bench, and I don't know if I want to face Lou Piniella either. So let's go to game 84 in Baseball Reference. It's dragging my I did a swap with her who's in college, and she was using an older PC for a while. So what did I do? I kind of traded her a newer PC that I was using just for, like, to look up Baseball Reference. And I said, I don't need a new PC to do that, but her 2010 MacBook, page is unresponsive, is really kind of struggling to keep up. If you're doing two things at once, it's just really hard to do with her 2010 MacBook. I have to look into that and see what I have to do to kind of speed it up a bit. Okay, this is a Friday game versus Texas. It is Kenny Holtzman versus Blyleven. We're going to click on that and see what type of we may just let Blyleven go, this batter. I mean, he still has batters faced. But I do want to be ready just in case for the next inning. So I want to check this out. It's going really, really slow, so I may have to swap this out. I may have to pick up another MacBook, because I don't know. I have a what do I have? I have a Surface Pro, but I just don't. There's something about it I don't like. I don't know. I just got used to the Macs. So huge play. Oh, that's foul back as well. That's 0-2 on Gamble. That's a 1-2, and that's going to be a potential K. A potential K 15 versus a righty goes up to 9, so it's going to be off Gamble's card. Gamble has good power. Gamble actually, does he have a home run off his card? He does not. He did hit 17 home runs in half the season, which is proportionally, it would be about 34 home runs on the season. That's a 62, and that's going to be line base hit to right. That's going to score Carlos May. The Yanks take a 3-2 lead, and Nettles over to third base. And Blyleven has one more, but you know what? And we're going to let him go because he did complete this game in reality. And let's see what he's done here. He struck out, gave up a double, then a ground out, then a single, and single. That tab. I had 3 tabs open, but no. It's just almost frozen in place. I'm pretty surprised that the stream is not being messed up. The stream just went black on me. I don't even see that coming in. Let me close down that one. See if I get the stream back. Ah, there it is. Okay, I can see